the next thing that we're leaving in 2024 is this obsession that mono strains of a probiotic are going to change your life. And I say this because I had a patient who I was in my 5th year of practice. My mentor was dying, and he handed me his practice abruptly because he was going in for cancer treatment, and he was very, very ill. And it was really just, I mean, it was a whirlwind. It was a terrible time. I had just experienced the loss of a pregnancy, and I was very unsettled financially and physically. My health was in shambles. And I had a patient who had gotten really hung up on this idea that this probiotic was going to save his life. And he had a lot of health issues. And one of his main health issues was he had extreme mental illness. And he was struggling with a lot of issues. And he started pounding this probiotic. And I looked into it and I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't think this is a great idea. It's actually, just for the sake of simplicity, it was a bacterium that could turn pathologic in the right circumstances. And it had been essentially denatured and put in this product. And I was like, there's not enough data out here. It's certainly not something that I would claim would lead to the benefits he thought they were. And you know how this stuff is. Like, can we leave this in 2024? Because I heard one today. These infomercials, these Sunday radio shows on conservative networks where they bring in a supposed doctor talking about this miraculous new form of whatever, and then preying on the elderly and the sick and infirm to basically hose them of their money by saying, we're going to give you your first bottle for free, or we're going to give you your first bottle for $10. And there's nothing novel in these ingredients. And the reason I know about them is because patients would come in. My mom has done this and included, like, bless her heart, but she gets bamboozled by it too. And these older folks will come in and say, have you heard of this? I mean, the claims were amazing. And they're on some of these big conservative talk shows and potentially the liberal side too. I don't know. I mean, I try to listen to all talk radio, but I hear it mostly on these conservative channels. And I mean, heck, this is not about politics. This is where I'm hearing it. And they prey on these people, and they make these really egregious claims about how the supplement's going to change everything and save their life. And the ingredients in there are mediocre at best. And it's just really frustrating to watch. So this guy got wrapped up in the same thing. I was very concerned that these organisms would turn pathologic in his gut, and because his health was so poor and the milieu that was in there was so compromised already. And I believe that's what happened. And had nothing to do with me prescribing him anything. I was trying to stop him from taking this, but he had a few other doctors. You know how it goes. People have like a group of practitioners that they sort of bounce between until they get their yes. And he ended up taking his own life. And I was a baby doctor, when it happened. And because he was in so much agonizing stomach pain, and it had, I can't even talk, your gut bugs could really mess up your brain functioning. And so much of our neuroinflammation is being driven by the lipopolysaccharides I just mentioned earlier, and our gut health and our gut microbiome. So, that was a really sobering moment for me. And then subsequently, I had another favorite patient get diagnosed with colon cancer in the same few months. And it was just it was a terrible time, because it just goes to show that this guy also was pounding some different probiotics. And I'm not saying that they caused any of this. It's just when you start going in with monotherapy hard, and you assume something great's going to happen, and that's just not how the gut microbiome works. It's a symphony in there. It is so in tuned with the food you're putting in your mouth, and so reliant on it. Shifts in real time in a matter of seconds, depending on what you've eaten. So your dietary choices are so much more important than you pounding a single strain of probiotic, in my opinion. So I just will leave it at that. But this obsession with people coming in, because you guys message me all the time, and I'm never going to answer you, by the way. I'm never going to stop and be like, here, let me break down exactly what I think of this. But you guys hear about supplements, you get excited, or maybe there's some MLM company trying to sell you something, and you guys drop it into my DMs on Instagram, and you're like, I'd love your thoughts on this. And it's like, no, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing and give you my thoughts on this, because that would be like multiple paragraphs. I'm telling you here and now my thoughts on it. Most of these products are high dose, like mono strain or just 2 or 3 strains, and utilized appropriately in the presence of a clinician who knows what they're doing, they can be very potent if we're trying to move the needle. But these are transient treatment plans. These are not forever. You don't just pound this for the rest of your life. And I want you to understand that we can use certain strains to get certain outcomes, or at least help nudge the patient towards certain outcomes. But this needs to be done carefully, and it needs to be done under the guidance of somebody who knows what they're doing.